making more energy. Are you guys happy? Okay, cool. So I'm going to introduce you to our headliner, Aseem.
I've been warned that it's very warm here, so I'm carrying a lot of water. Yeah? So if I pass out, call 911, okay? So before I start, let's give it up for all the comics you saw here tonight. Yeah. And of course, my friend Tina. All right. So I started doing comedy about 6 years ago. When I was new to comedy, a club offered me 2.5 minutes of stage time. 2.5 minutes, really. Like even premature ejaculations last longer. I know a thing or two about premature ejaculations. I don't know whether that is something to be proud of. It's like crossing the finish line even before they fire the gun. It's like maybe you won, but the other people involved didn't quite enjoy it. You know, I usually wouldn't start my set with a sex joke, but I figured a joke on premature ejaculation had to come early. You guys are laughing now, but it was a harrowing time for me. And my school teacher. You know, once I did that joke when my dad was in the audience. And my dad is like, that joke is funny. I said, Dad, you realize that joke is so inappropriate. I'm talking about me having sex with my school teacher. My dad is like, it was your math teacher, no? I'm like, how did you figure that out? It's like, have you seen your grades in math? This is the amazing thing about brown parents. Like even when they give you a compliment, you somehow end up feeling crap. So I'm headlining the show, which means that I'll be here for a long time. Which also means that this evening, I wasn't randomly selected like I usually am at airports in North America. I don't know what it is about me, right? Like random selection. If I were that kind of a statistical phenomenon outside the airports, by now I would have won the Lotto Max a few times. You know, every time they ask me to proceed for this extra security check, I think to myself, am I that dangerous? Am I that big a nuisance to the society? I mean, yes, I am brown, but I'm not Chris Brown, come on. You can clap to that, he's not in the room, I checked. You know? No, I'm not dangerous. Yeah? Like, I like 90s dance pop music. What kind of a terrorist would that make me? The one who goes, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, sexy eyes, I'm going to take you to paradise. Hey, hey, my, can't you see you were born to die with me, really? If you like that one, there is one more coming. If you did not like that one, there is still one more coming. So when I hear boom, my head doesn't think of a bomb. My heart goes boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. To spend the night together now until forever. See, I'm not dangerous. I just have a 90s hangover. You might have noticed that I'm a perfectionist. For example, I lived in India for 30 years to perfect my Indian accent. People often confuse me as someone from Pakistan. They have done that. Nothing wrong with that. For people who actually believe that there's nothing wrong with that, that is wrong. Yeah. You know, earlier I used to politely correct these people saying that no, I'm from the neighboring country, bigger country, India. But now I have a formula to make them understand where I come from. You guys eat samosas? Yeah? Quite popular here, right? I've eaten more samosas here than back home in India. So this is what I tell people. I come from a land where you find samosa. Not from a land where they found Osama. Hopefully he's not in the room as well. You know, once I did that joke, even after the show, a Pakistani man came to me and he said, your joke on India, Pakistan was in poor taste. I said, what are you talking about? Samosas are very tasty. Anyway, we got into an argument. The situation escalated. It became explosive. And boom, before we realized, we were looking into each other's eyes going, boom, 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 I want you in my room. So, you know, I've been married for 12 years now. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The whole room was like, we are not going to cheer for an arranged marriage. That wasn't even a joke. Yeah. So I learned something interesting about relationships, or the levels of understanding that go in relationships, right? Meeting, dating, meeting the parents, engagement, marriage, assembling IKEA furniture together. IKEA is a place where couples happily go and shop for things that will make them fight later. If you see those manuals closely, like there is one person doing all the work and other person is stationary, right? Exactly like sex. The only difference here is that for some reason both of them are unhappy. Now, if you're not laughing to that joke, you are the passive one. And after putting that furniture together, there is still nuts and bolts lying around, right? Yeah, and you don't know what the fuck happened, where you went wrong. That is pretty much the status of your relationship at that point. I told all these jokes to my wife, and my wife is like, I guess you're sleeping on the couch tonight. I was like, well, let's assemble it first. When you're married for 12 years, you start liking strange things about each other. The other day, my wife hugs me and she's like, you fart very cutely. I'm like, thank you. Now get out of the bathroom. Sometimes you're a bit too honest. Like my wife is like, let's make love all night. I'm like, honey, let's be reasonable. I'm a brown man. If you want me to be up all night, give me a challenging Sudoku. But nothing speaks of love and trust in a relationship like taking on a joint mortgage. Your relationship is in a good place when even your bank takes interest. Now guys, that was a good fucking joke. Whenever you get in an argument, you think to yourself, should I win this argument at the expense of losing the house? As a man, I do understand that my wife can have difficult periods, like unpleasant periods. So even I have downloaded a period tracking app on my phone. My iPhone is totally confused. It's like, why is this brown man ovulating? You know, comics have this habit of asking anyone visiting from out of town. I don't ask that question because once I asked anyone visiting from out of town, there was like complete silence in the room, complete silence. And one guy at the back was like, yes, you. That's a fun way to look at immigrants, right? Long-term visitors. You know, before moving to Canada, when I moved to Canada, actually, I did some research as to why Canada takes so many immigrants every year. The number one reason is that Canadians are not having enough children. You know what is the first thing my wife and I did after moving to Canada? We decided not to have kids. We are like, these Canadians are smart. They know something that we don't. So 4 months ago, I turned 40. Okay, let's do this as if we give a shit, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is something I don't understand. 30 is the new 20. But somehow 40 is the new 65. Yeah. Recently, I bought these noise cancelling earphones and I can hear my body creaking. There are some parts in my body which are always singing in those high notes that only Mariah Carey can hit. When you are younger, you go to the doctor. The doctor's like, don't worry, don't drink for a few days. Take a few Tylenols. You'll be okay. When you're 40, you go to the doctor. The doctor's like, well, this needs to be investigated. I'll prescribe some blood tests. Given the condition of the healthcare system, till you get an appointment, keep taking Tylenols. Yeah. People are excited for you. So, Aseem, what are we doing for your 40th? What should we get you? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Just pay a part of my mortgage. See, 40 is not young, but at the same time, it's not old enough to get your priority seating on the public transit. Yeah. Whenever you see someone seated there, you're like, yeah, I know I don't deserve it, but I could do with it. Whenever you see a pregnant woman seated there, you're like, yeah, you're pregnant, but you're only 29. When you're younger, you can feel the passage of time. Like in your 20s, you're like, oh my God, I've been single for over a year now. When you're 40, you're like, I have learned nothing new for 5 years. At least I had some great naps. Recently, I changed my glasses. I have reading glasses now. Yeah? Even my eyes are like, we don't want to focus on finer things anymore. I have to keep everything at an arm's length to look at it properly. It's kind of good because I like to look at my problems from a distance. See, I'm complaining, but a lot of people tell me I don't look 40, but I don't do anything to look young. It's just my genes. Like, you won't believe it. Even today, my dad has to show his ID just to enter a strip club. They just won't believe he's old enough to dance. Now, you know, with the silence in the room, you guys are imagining a brown guy in his mid-60s giving you a lap dance. But that is wrong. That is just wrong. Because my dad is 70. I do that joke and people are like, how can you say such things about your dad? And I'm like, if you want, I can say that about your dad too. One of my friends was like, oh no, my dad passed away. I'm like, wow, that's even better. You know, I'm a millennial, which means that my parents are boomers. And boomers do say insensitive things, but you can still deal with that. You know who's wild though? The generation before that. The things that my 95-year-old grandmother says, sometimes even my dad looks at me to say, as if to say, I don't know this woman anymore. And how are you going to cancel a 95-year-old? Right? Like their body has started canceling them a long time ago. And there is no point correcting that generation because a lot of them cannot hear and a lot of them cannot remember. Right? Imagine having this dialogue where you know that after the dialogue your throat is going to hurt and maybe 2 weeks later you're going to have the same dialogue again. Yeah. And my grandmother has this habit, you know, whenever things become uncomfortable, she'll just change the topic. The other day I was like, Grandma, that other person's sexuality is none of our business. And my grandma is like, okay, can you pass me that spoon, please? Yeah, but I do get it. I do get it why that generation is like that. Because when they were growing up, they were not taught about any gray area. Everything was black and white, yes and no. Right? Are we eating dinner tonight? No. Do we bomb Hiroshima? Yes. While we do that, what about Nagasaki? Sure. But one day something awkward happened. Out of nowhere, my grandma, she approaches me and she's like, so Aseem, what is this transgender person? And I'm like, oh. Because I'm going to lose my mind, right? But I need to acknowledge this. So I'm like, Grandma, firstly, good question. Secondly, can you pass me that spoon, please? You're smiling only when I look at you. So in 2023, I became a Canadian citizen. Thank you. You should have clapped, you know. It's 2025, optics are important. So I realized something. Canadian citizenship is a token of appreciation for paying insane amount of taxes. They are like, now that we've established a model where you give us half of your money without asking any questions. Welcome to the gang. See, I complain, but I must tell you, traveling on a Canadian passport is so liberating. You must understand, like, my starting point is an Indian passport. Don't get me wrong, I was very proud of it. But turns out the world wasn't. When you're traveling on an Indian passport, you have to answer questions like, so what is the purpose of your visit to the United States today? No, we are not going to that country anymore. Right? So I changed the country. What is the purpose of your visit to France today? How long do you plan to stay in France? When you're traveling on a Canadian passport, you have to answer questions like, go. No, actually it's France. So it is like, vous êtes Canadien? Bonjour, allez-y. You know, the joke that I did right now is viral on the internet. So in your social media feed, if you see someone who looks like me, most likely it is me. And when something goes viral, you also have to deal with the comments, right? Because hating someone on the internet is like the ultimate form of satisfaction. Some comments are just stupid. It's almost like they've been written by some fourth grader. Your glasses are very shiny. I'm like, come on, do better. I need to write jokes. So here they are. Number one, even my dad is funnier than that. Go follow your dad on Instagram. But I wanted to reply. So I said, agreed. But I'm a better dad than your dad. Yeah, and I don't even have kids. Second comment, another citizen sent them back. And I'm like, I don't think you understand how nationality works. But I wanted to be thorough. I did some research. It said that except unusual circumstances, Canadian citizens cannot be deported. Now, telling jokes at a comedy club, not unusual. Might be exceptional, not unusual, right? Third comment, good riddance. We don't want you in India anyway. I'm like, hang on. Let me introduce you to this guy who wants to send me back. You guys can have a constructive discussion. And then based on the outcome of your discussion, I can decide the course of my life. You know, India doesn't allow dual citizenship, so I had to give up my Indian nationality after becoming Canadian. Absolutely zero tolerance for polyamory. Maybe that is a way to control population. Like one citizen gone, 1 billion more to go. This is something I don't understand about Canada. Here people have like 3-4 nationalities. Almost like they're shopping for passports at Costco. And they usually sound like this, you know. My grandfather was Swedish, my grandmother was German, I was born in the United States. When I was 4, we moved to Canada. And I'm like, all that is okay, but how are you brown? You know, to become a Canadian citizen, I had to pledge my allegiance to the king. Yeah, you might have heard of this rock star, King Charles III. Yeah, don't laugh at my king, please. So you know, it was an online ceremony, and I had to pledge my allegiance to King Charles III, his heirs, and his successors. Now here is my problem. Here I am pledging my allegiance to King Charles III and his heirs, while one of his heirs has actually walked out on him. Yeah. That guy is living in California, giving interviews to Oprah Winfrey in a garden. Yeah. And here I am pledging my allegiance on Zoom. Like, what type of low-budget royals are these? That is why I like the Prince of Nigeria. Like, he is willing to give me $500,000. So, you know, you might have heard recently in the last couple of years, India has a lot of, Canada and India, there's a lot of diplomatic tension. Have you heard that? Yeah. And there was a time in last year where about for 2-3 months, India had cancelled visas for Canadians, which meant that if I went to India, I would be deported back to Canada. Look how the tables have turned. So, you know, watching TV in North America, how many people here watch TV? Wow, these jokes are going to be fun. Okay, 4 people. Thank you. I'm banking on you guys, okay? So watching TV in North America is such a larger than life, such a dramatic experience. The other day I saw 3 consecutive commercials for laxatives. Like seriously, if constipation is such a big problem, maybe sitting on the couch watching TV is not the solution. Yeah? Master Chef. People watching Master Chef? Where the fuck do you guys live? Like even people in North Korea are watching Master Chef. Okay, Master Chef, what a program, what a show. Firstly, why are you cooking against time? Like who's so hungry? And if you're so hungry, why do you want to eat such fancy food? Go to La Belle Provence, eat hot dog, eat poutine. And the things that they say on the show, the terminology that they use. Today you got to elevate this ordinary chicken dish. If you hadn't killed the bird and clipped its wings, it would have elevated itself. Yeah. And the adjectives that they use is zesty, it's velvety, it's like a symphony of flavors in my mouth. It encapsulates nostalgia. If you have to learn adjectives before eating a meal, eat something simple. Yeah. Imagine if they use all these adjectives in advertisements, right? It's zesty, it's velvety, it's like a symphony of flavors in my stomach. It encapsulates nostalgia. Easy action, Canada's #1 laxative. And these chefs, they have an obnoxious habit. They will talk about alcohol that goes with eating certain type of food. More specifically the wine. Now, if you need alcohol to shove something down your throat, eat something pleasant. Yeah. The other day, the chef very proudly boasted. He said the Sauvignon Blanc goes very well with eating asparagus. Now, let me tell you a thing or two about asparagus. Causes gases and makes your pee stink. I have done my research. Don't ask me how. So if there's anything that goes with eating asparagus, it is your self-respect. Okay, you guys need to wake up. Because now it is becoming like a massive Zoom call where a lot of you need to unmute yourselves. Yeah, look at all this bunch here. Are you guys okay? Yeah, you guys understand me? Yeah, okay, good, nice. It's just peaceful and silent. You guys are protesting something. You guys are protesting good comedy. Okay, anyway. So, and the advertisements here, they make you feel like you lack some very vital information to live your life. The other day I was watching TV and with a lot of conviction, this woman suddenly appears on the screen and with a lot of conviction, she's like, no one tells you these secrets about tampons. And I'm like, no one tells me anything about tampons. That is the time I realized a secret means nothing if you don't know the basics of something. Right? Like imagine if you're sitting here and someone comes and whispers in your ear, hey, I'm not wearing an underwear tonight. And you're like, what is an underwear? You're killed the moment, right? Okay, speaking of underwear, again, I was listening to the radio and this guy with a lot of conviction is like, are you wearing an outdated underwear? And I'm like, what is an outdated underwear? Yeah? Listen, I'm from India. I have a very different standard for outdated. Yeah? Like right now, I drive a 2002 Honda Civic, which has done 300,000 kilometers. And I plan to pass it down to my children. And as you guys know, I don't even have kids. And I have discarded an underwear because, it had holes, the elastic was loose. Never because it was outdated or redundant. That is the reason, redundant is the reason you get rid of a partner, not an underwear. Yeah? Alright, you guys are warmed up enough. Let's talk about Chinese people. There are none in the room, right? No? Okay. No, this is not a racist joke. Oh, you're who's Chinese? No? Okay. I thought you were Filipino.
I am.
Yeah. No, this is not a racist joke. No. That one I stopped doing because I didn't want to get cancelled. So, Chinese people have two names, right? Like a Chinese name and an English name. You know that? Yeah? Yeah? That one laughed even before my punchline. I don't know why. So, a few years ago, my friend introduced himself. He said, hi, my name is Chiwa, but you can call me Charles. I'm like, why, dude? I want to call you Chiva. Firstly, why are you giving people options? I don't come up on stage and I say, hi, I'm a comedian, but you can call me poor. You laughed a bit too much for that. You like that one? There is another example. Hi, I'm a brown person. You can call me a terrorist. Why would I do that? Right? Also, Chiva sounds fun, right? Chiva has an impact. Chiva is the kind of guy who can get your mortgage approved. Chiva is the kind of guy who can get you a Chinese passport. I got one great discount. Yeah? Meanwhile, Charles is so mainstream, so boring. Charles is the kind of guy who gets into trouble for saying bonjour hi. Charles is the kind of guy who creates a traffic jam because he waits for too long at a stop sign. One more you like? Okay. Charles is the kind of guy who orders a coffee at Thai Express. In fact, Charles is so pathetic that if you complain about Charles, even the entire United Kingdom is like, oh my God. Guys, we are a part of Commonwealth. We can laugh to that. So, where are my immigrants here? No immigrants? Yeah, okay. Very low energy immigrants. Yeah. What? White immigrant? What happened? Where are you from?
France.
You're from France. Okay, listen. A person from France living in Quebec is not an immigrant. Yeah? It's like person moving from living room to the bedroom. That is not immigration. Yeah? Immigration is like people like us. We take bloody 12-hour flights to come here. 24-hour flights. We take stopover in France. Yeah. But anyway, who else is an immigrant here? Okay, that he's my colleague. I'm not going to make fun of him. Where are you from?
Colombia.
You're from Colombia. See, that is an immigrant. Like, yeah. He has escaped drug peddling. Yeah. What have you escaped? Nothing. Chômage. That's all. Yeah, you're right. It's like, so as an immigrant, I get asked strange questions all the time. Someone asked me, "Are you circumcised?" I said, "No, I have no skin in the game." Yeah. When I moved here, I did not have a driving license, so I signed up for a driving course. I sat in my car on the very first day. My driving instructor, he warns me. He says, "Aseem, on the island of Montreal, you cannot turn right at a red light." Yeah, what a strange rule. Because where I come from, you can even go straight at a red light. Country bashing makes for a fun joke, right? My friend invited me camping. I'm like, oh, okay, what happens there? He said, oh, it's a lot of fun. You live amidst nature, you build your own tent, you cook over a campfire, you fill your own water. I politely declined his invite. I moved to the west to stop doing all those things. No, I'm joking. In India, we don't have water. See that Pakistani lady is clapping. When I did that Osama joke, there was one person booing. There was that person from Pakistan. Osama was so horrible that even Saudi Arabia had revoked his passport. Do we know that? Yeah? Anyway, I'll leave you with this one last joke. So I often make fun of my country, India, inside comedy clubs, but outside I care about India's image. I work very hard. Recently, I was here in downtown Montreal. I saw a brown couple jaywalking. So I went to them and I said, no, guys, this is not right. Yeah, this is Montreal. The cops could catch you, they could fine you. And more importantly, you must not damage India's reputation like that. So the woman and the couple, she looked at me and she said, no, we are not from India, we are from Bangladesh. So I reported them to the cops. My name is Aseem. You've been a fun crowd back here.
Sorry. Yeah.
You guys give it up for Aseem one more time, you guys.